What's good, everyone? This is Mayan Gordon. I'm the owner of Mayan Gordon Media, Monkey Boy Art, World of Glass, joint venture with Champion Roundtable. And today we are going to be talking about value. As you guys know, I love bringing value to the table, but I'm also going to talk to you guys about why I like value more than I like money. And to get into this whole conversation, I'm going to share a little quick story with you guys about something that happened today. Today, my husband Ben worked out an awesome trade through, I think, Facebook marketplaces where he was able to find the item that he wanted to trade for, communicated through Facebook Messenger, and we worked out a trade for this rifle that we've had for probably 3 to 4 years now. Also got the rifle in a trade, but we're about to have kids in the next year or two. We don't want any guns in the house, so he was able to trade it for this badass mini bike. I love mini bikes, mini choppers, tote goats, whatever you want to call them. I've had probably 4 of them now over the past 10 years. We've previously had to sell each of them when we were in a financial dire situation at certain points. Now we're back to this point where honestly I'm doing a lot more financially well, and we get to keep this mini bike. I'm super stoked, and I've actually got a little video to show you guys what it looks like. Here we go.
Check it out, guys. This is the mini bike right here.
That's the mini bike. It's got a little bit of awesome camo, nice little engine on it, and it rides around great. Super fun. I actually got a really cool helmet. I got a cool little leather biker jacket for it. Again, I got those probably a year and a half ago when I had my last mini bike. I got some cool gear for it. So tons of fun. You guys, barter, outside of you being able to trade up or create more value for yourself, it's a lot of fun. The people that you meet when you do bartering are really interesting, fun, cool people. And so I really value the relationships that I'm able to build through bartering, through trading. I'd love if anyone is watching, if you guys do barter, if you've ever participated in any type of cool trade, definitely leave a comment. Let us all know what's something fun that you've traded for in the past. And as always, please comment one thing that you're grateful for and where in the world are you watching from. So part of the reason that I like value more than I like money is because value can be traded for many, many more things than money. A lot of times people don't want your money, but if you have value that's in whatever form it is, sometimes that value is emotional. Sometimes that value is in a very particular area. Let's say someone needs a pair of scissors, right? That's a very particular type of value. You might have something that is worth a lot less in terms of money to someone else, but in terms of value, it's actually worth a lot more. I call this value arbitrage, where you're finding the space in which the value difference is very different than the money difference. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Something you can't use technically has no value to you compared to something that you can use. Now, the thing you can't use might be very expensive. It might have cost you a lot of money. And the thing that you can use might be very inexpensive and not cost a lot of money. But the value to you as a person in terms of use, the use value is going to be greater, right? And so that's where I'd say, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and any of these online, in Mercari, in any of these online marketplaces, you can actually make a lot of money by finding out where the value differences are and creating that value arbitrage. So this is something that you can definitely pattern and start to see different areas and pockets where these value differences exist. So for example, oftentimes people will have, let's call it a man toy. That's kind of the term that we use here in the United States, meaning a gun, a motorcycle, a man cave item, like a big recliner, a beer sign or beer tap collection. I used to have a beer tap collection. If you don't know what that is, hit me up. It's actually really cool. And, a lot of times the wife in the family or the female partner is going to make that husband get rid of some of his toys, right? Because they don't need them. They need the space. Really, she doesn't want her husband to have those anyways. For example, I don't want my husband to have a gun. Does he like guns? Does he want to have a gun? Yeah. Does he agree that we probably shouldn't have one when we have kids? Yes. But outside of that situation, I could have him get rid of the gun because I don't want it in the house. So that means he's going to take less of a monetary value trade because there's going to be a different kind of use trade. We don't use the gun. Are we going to use the mini bike? Oh, yeah. Now, it happens to be that we actually traded up. The mini bike is definitely worth more than the gun that we traded for. So that's really nice. But the reason for that is someone else, the person we traded to, values the gun more than they did the mini bike. In their head, they might go, I'm going to go shooting way more often than I would ever ride this mini bike, right? And so you can think about what are some items that people would have that they're just not using. Because when someone's not using something, it loses a ton of its actual use value. It doesn't lose any monetary value per se, unless you're trying to sell it in that exact same context. Oftentimes you have to then move the item into a different area where it is more valuable. Or, for example, sometimes items, the exact same item, will be worth a different amount in different places. And I'm talking about just even from in the city. Like I used to live in Seattle, grew up in Seattle. Things are a different value in the city of Seattle than they are outside the city of Seattle. And there's a lot of arbitrage there too. For example, someone who lives 2 hours outside of Seattle is going to have a much harder time selling things than someone who lives directly in the city for a lot of reasons, right? There's way fewer people outside of the city. There's also most of the people outside of the city are going to need different items than people who live inside of the city or value different items. They're also going to have different amounts of space to store those items. For example, someone living in the city might not have a space for a boat. Boats are a great item to do value monetary arbitrage on, because if you don't have the space for a boat, it's actually going to cost you a ton of money to store the boat. This is a huge incentive to want to get rid of it for something else that isn't going to cost you money and that you're probably actually going to use. Again, you live in the city, you got that boat because you had these ambitious dreams of going out on the water every weekend and just living the life. But what ended up happening is you work too much, or you just don't have the time. Maybe you just don't even have the energy. It actually takes quite a lot of work to hook up a boat, drag it out to the lake, clean it off. You have to clean off boats really well if you don't want them to get damaged afterwards. So you could probably get a really good deal on someone who doesn't want their boat anymore, especially if it's going to cost them money in terms of a trade. Maybe you can trade a, let's say, $500 useful item for a $1,500 boat that someone can't use. So the reason I'm sharing all this with you guys is because I think when you're starting out in business, when you're starting out in entrepreneurship, a lot of times it can feel really frustrating to build momentum. And for me, I've always found that one of the best ways to build momentum in your business is to find some type of value arbitrage that you can create using your business skill sets or products that not only help you build momentum, gain something that is a little bit more valuable to you, but also it's great for building those relationships. Trades work well because usually both parties walk away extremely happy, and each party kind of feels like they got one over on the, not got one over, but that they won. They got the thing that they really wanted, and they got rid of the thing that they didn't want. That's an awesome type of relationship that isn't always there when you're selling something or when you're buying something. Yes, when you buy something, you're always wanting the item, but you're not always going to feel like you got a great deal. The same way when you do a trade that you're really excited about, you always feel like you got this amazing deal, no matter which side of it you're on, because you got rid of something you didn't want and you gained something that you did want. What is up, Ahmad? Thank you so much for tuning in from Pakistan. That's amazing. He's grateful for his intelligence. That's a beautiful thing to be grateful for. Prakash says, right now, for everyone, we have to be grateful that we're alive and not being affected by the coronavirus if we're not. Exactly. Yeah. You know, health is one of the best things to be grateful for, especially health on any given day. If you feel good today, be so grateful for that, because realize that you won't feel good every day. In fact, there is most certainly a day coming up ahead. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel awful. You're going to almost maybe wish you were dead because of how bad physically you feel from either being sick, or maybe you get in an accident and break a bone, or whatever other number of health issues that human beings can get. If you feel healthy today, make sure you take the time to be grateful for that. Thank you for bringing that up. Michael, what's good? Grateful for your family. Amen to that. Without family, what do we even have in this world, right? Family is so important. So I'm just going to share a couple more tips that are hopefully going to help maybe some new business owners, some new entrepreneurs out. The reason I'm sharing this is I think that right now there's a lot of people starting up new businesses. Maybe they never thought they were going to, but because of the whole COVID situation, coronavirus, they're being forced to start up their own businesses. And I kind of think it's a beautiful thing, but it can be stressful if you've never started a business before. It can be stressful if you don't have people guiding you and helping you in the right direction. So one thing that I would say is if you do feel like you're stressed out, if you feel like you have any amount of pressure on yourself, find some support. Reach out to someone. Reach out to me. I am happy to help you or point you in the direction of someone that I believe could help you. And it'll take a lot of that weight off of your shoulder. It'll also help you get some new ideas that maybe you didn't have originally that you could get really excited about. Excitement is one of the awesome ways to beat stress and frustration. So just focusing even on one singular idea that excites you can really help you overcome those beginning struggles in entrepreneurship or starting your own business. Outside of finding something that really does get you excited, I would say that value arbitrage can be done not only in physical trade form, it can definitely be done with digital skill sets. Okay, so as a new business, there are so many things you need. You probably need a website. You probably need some social accounts built up. You probably need some logos. You probably need some branding, right? There's a lot of stuff you need. It's very likely you can trade for those things, that you actually don't have to go and spend money maybe you don't have. What is your business? What is the service you're going to offer? Put it out there. Reach out to people. Reach out to graphic designers. Say, hey, would you be willing to trade a logo for this service that we offer? I think that's a really, really great way to not only get some momentum, start feeling a little bit more confident, building up some of that brand and reputation, but again, it's a great way to build relationships. Outside of that, I really do think that the best thing you guys can do is make sure you have either an entire team supporting you on your journey, or at least one person who you really trust. Not one person who you think's really smart, one person you really trust. I think trust is much more important than expertise. Because if you don't trust that person, it honestly doesn't matter what they tell you. You're probably not going to act on it. You need to be getting advice. You need to be getting information from someone who you trust enough where when they tell you things, you're going to take action, because action is the name of the game. I didn't get here by not taking action. In fact, the only way I got here today was by taking action every single day in a pretty massive and confident way. You can't take action if you're not confident. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially in the early stages, right? When you haven't done it before, of course, you're not going to be confident. So you have to start doing to gain that confidence, to build that momentum, build those relationships, and really start seeing the vision come to reality. I hope this helps some of you guys out today. I'm going to throw up my email address in case you want to get in touch with me. The other great way to get in touch with me is just to message me on LinkedIn. You can also hit me up on Facebook. If I'm streaming to Facebook right now, also YouTube. All you guys, message me if you need any help at all. And I hope you have a really great rest of your night. 4th of July is coming up for all you United States homies out there. And a happy Canada Day yesterday to all my Canadian friends as well.